Hey, this is John Carlos, and I'm here with a look at the McFarlane Toys Color Tops Red Wave action figure of Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead. Back in the day, as in late 90s, early 2000s, I used to collect a lot of McFarlane Toys action figures because they were making a lot of fun stuff that I liked in 7-inch scale. They did Austin Powers figures and Aliens and Predator and Terminator, all the movie Maniac stuff. Really great stuff. But I kind of stopped collecting them because, well, they started making a lot of Dragons and Army toys and football and baseball stuff, like a lot of sports ball stuff that I'm not into. And then they came back with Walking Dead figures, but they were in a smaller scale that I didn't care about. And then they made extra big figures that I didn't care about. And now, finally, with the Red Tops line, we have 7-inch scale figures from a nerdy genre property again. So this excites me. I'm glad that McFarlane Toys is returning to doing kind of fun, gooby toy stuff, and in a scale that I care about. And this figure looks pretty good. The sculpt here on Rick Grimes is pretty good. I do think it's probably done through a laser scan of some kind. If you're hunting for this in stores, there is something to be on the lookout for. You can see this one here has a little patch of paint that's weird and globbed onto his chin there on the side of his jawline. There's a little bit of mismatched paint by that bandage there where it doesn't match the rest of the skin tone. That's fine with me. I picked that one because this one has the best likeness. See, there are a lot of paint jobs out there that are kind of wonky, where his beard is very smoothly painted on, or the whole skin surface looks kind of oily, or his eyeballs are slightly painted off. And you'd be surprised how a little bit of an eighth of an inch up or down can really affect things. I saw some that were really well painted in the hairline, but his eyes would just be slightly raised up a little bit, and it really throws the likeness off. Or his lips are super pink painted, or the black line was super thick or super thin. I don't know, maybe I'm being nitpicky, but I saw this at a bunch of Targets and Toys R Us's, and none looked as good as this one. Even though it's got some glop right there, I think this one captures the likeness the best. So if you care about that sort of stuff, be on the lookout for that. Also, there's some wonky hairlines out there. Now, aside from that to be on the lookout for, and the fact that his shirt can sometimes be a little too heavy painted with this kind of dirty sweatiness, sometimes it's really cartoony and heavy brown black paint. Aside from that, this is a pretty rad figure. There's a lot of really good work going on here. The sculpt he's in is a pretty good pose. It's the one pose you can get him in because it's a McFarlane toy, which means it's a little statue. There's articulation, and it's all rather pointless because you can only pose him in the one pose. There's a leg joint here. Doesn't matter because any other position, his foot's going to be uneven and he won't be able to stand. Same thing with his arms. Yeah, you can move his arm up, but then it leaves the little part of his shoulder exposed where the sculpt would meet and blend, and now it's an exposed little area there underneath the armpit too. So you can only really have him in that one kind of cool pose. Same thing with this arm. Same thing with his head. His head in particular, because they sculpt him looking off to the side. So if you have his head come forward, then you've got that weird exposed neck plate where it should rest naturally with the pose he's in. So yeah, I personally don't mind McFarlane's brand of toys where they're just statues, because I think the statues they make look pretty cool. But it is hard calling them action figures when they're not really action figures. They're just little mini statues. But the work that went into this is really strong. The sculpting of the pants and the paint of the surface of the pants to create a jean effect looks really good. His boots look good. The seam going down the side, the wrinkles. His belt, my god, the details on the belt look really, really good. His knife, the pouch, his holster, which does fit his gun, the little holes in his belt, the buckle, the wrinkling of his shirt, the dirtiness and sweatiness of his shirt, the grime on his collarbone. I mean, it's really well done. The definition in his arm, even his watch and the bandages on his hand look really, really good. And again, I think that the detail within his face sculpt is fantastic. And I think they did a great job sculpting his hairline and his hairstyle. The waviness of it looks good. And the brown paint, to highlight the darker brown paint, reads really, really good as well. He comes with a couple accessories. He comes with his pistol, which is a good-looking tiny pistol. And he comes with a figure stand, which I think is going to be the basic one for all of them. It's the same one as Michonne's. It's just black and it says The Walking Dead on it. The figure stand has one peg which fits into the figure's one hole in the right boot. Now I put the gun in the figure's hand, and I gotta say it looks pretty good, even though it does kind of warp the index finger a little bit. It looks kind of funny. Now one thing you can do is take the gun out of the hand and put it into the holster, because it does fit into the holster really well. I just think it looks weird. I mean, if his hand was like a relaxed hand and it was kind of reaching for the gun, that's one thing, but it's got the index trigger finger out, which makes it look like it should be holding a gun, and I think it looks kind of weird like that without it. But still, the figure's in a cool pose. Now, I dig McFarlane's style of kind of pointless articulation. I like the statues they make, but you know, it does have, and I should mention, it's got articulation at the ankles and at the elbows on both of the arms. But again, it doesn't really matter. As far as making these statues goes, I dig them. I dig them a lot. This is a great likeness. I got a pretty good paint job as far as like the eyeballs and the, you know, all the things, the lips that make it look like Rick. I'm really happy with this. So thanks for watching, everybody, and follow me on Instagram and Facebook and all of that.